On March 13, 2013, a new era dawned for the Catholic Church. From the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, Cardinal Jorge Mario Bergoglio of Buenos Aires, Argentina, emerged as Pope Francis, the 266th successor to St. Peter. The first Jesuit pope, the first from the Americas, and the first to take the name Francis, his election signaled a departure from tradition and a commitment to humility, simplicity, and a poor church for the poor. Born in 1936 to Italian immigrant parents, Jorge Bergoglio's upbringing in Buenos Aires instilled in him a deep connection to the marginalized. His early experiences of poverty and social inequality would profoundly shape his pastoral approach and his vision for the church. Choosing the name Francis after Saint Francis of Assisi, the patron saint of the poor and the environment, was a clear indication of the direction his papacy would take. Pope Francis's journey from the bustling streets of Buenos Aires to the heart of the Catholic Church is a testament to his unwavering commitment to social justice, his profound empathy for the poor and marginalized, and his vision of a more inclusive and merciful church. His papacy has been marked by a series of bold initiatives, transformative reforms, and powerful statements that have resonated far beyond the walls of the Vatican, inspiring millions around the world. Jorge Bergoglio's path to the priesthood was not a straight line. Before entering the seminary, he trained as a chemist and worked briefly as a nightclub bouncer, experiences that provided him with a grounded perspective on the lives of ordinary people. Ordained as a Jesuit priest in 1969, he quickly rose through the ranks, serving as a provincial superior and later as Archbishop of Buenos Aires. Throughout his time in Argentina, Father Bergoglio was known for his simple lifestyle, his deep concern for the poor, and his willingness to challenge social injustices. He lived in a modest apartment, rode public transportation, and regularly visited the slums of Buenos Aires, where he ministered to the needs of the poor and marginalized. His experiences in Argentina, a country marked by both economic disparity and political turmoil, deeply influenced his understanding of the Church's role in society. He believed that the Church should be a voice for the voiceless, a defender of the poor, and a force for social justice. This commitment to the marginalized would become a defining characteristic of his papacy. From the moment he stepped onto the world stage, Pope Francis has been a vocal advocate for the poor and marginalized. His message has been clear and consistent. The Church must prioritize the needs of the poor, challenge structures that perpetuate inequality, and work tirelessly to create a more just and compassionate world. In his speeches, homilies, and encyclicals, Pope Francis has repeatedly condemned the globalization of indifference and the throwaway culture that marginalizes the poor, the sick, the elderly, and the unborn. He has called for a poor church for the poor, a church that is not afraid to get its hands dirty, to go to the peripheries of society, and to stand in solidarity with those who are suffering. Pope Francis's commitment to the poor is not just rhetorical, it is rooted in concrete actions. He has washed the feet of prisoners, embraced people with disabilities, and opened the doors of the Vatican to the homeless. He has established a papal charity to provide food, clothing, and medical care to the poor in Rome, and he has made it a priority to visit refugee camps and disaster zones around the world, offering comfort and support to those who have lost everything. Section 4. Opening the doors of dialogue. One of the hallmarks of Pope Francis's papacy has been his commitment to dialogue, both within the Church and with other faiths and cultures. He has repeatedly emphasized the importance of listening to different perspectives, building bridges of understanding, and finding common ground. Within the Church, Pope Francis has initiated a more open and synodal approach, encouraging greater participation from all members, including women and laypeople. He convened 2 synods on the family, which sparked wide-ranging discussions on issues such as divorce, remarriage, and same-sex relationships. Pope Francis has also made interreligious dialogue a priority of his papacy. He has met with leaders of various faiths including Muslims, Jews, Buddhists, and Hindus, emphasizing the importance of mutual respect, understanding, and cooperation. His historic meetings with the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar and the Patriarch of Moscow have been hailed as significant steps towards fostering greater interreligious harmony. Section 5. A Church of Mercy and Compassion. Central to Pope Francis's vision of the Church is his emphasis on mercy and compassion. He has proclaimed a Jubilee Year of Mercy, urging Catholics to rediscover the importance of forgiveness, reconciliation, and God's boundless love. Pope Francis has stressed that the Church should be a field hospital for the wounded, a place of healing and hope for those who have been hurt or marginalized. He has called for a more welcoming and inclusive Church, one that is open to all, regardless of their past mistakes or their current circumstances. This emphasis on mercy has also extended to his approach to pastoral care. He has encouraged priests to be more understanding and compassionate in their ministry, to meet people where they are, and to accompany them on their faith journeys. He has also called for a more merciful approach to issues such as divorce and remarriage, recognizing the complexities of human relationships and the need for pastoral sensitivity. Section 6. Challenging the status quo. Pope Francis's papacy has not been without its challenges and controversies. His willingness to challenge the status quo, to speak out against injustices, and to push for reform has earned him both admiration and criticism. His pronouncements on economic inequality, his critique of unfettered capitalism, and his call for a more just global economic order have ruffled feathers among some conservative Catholics and political leaders. His emphasis on environmental protection and his encyclical on climate change, Laudato Si', have also drawn criticism from some quarters. Within the Church, Pope Francis's reforms have faced resistance from some conservative cardinals and bishops who are wary of his more open and inclusive approach. His efforts to decentralize power within the Church and to give greater voice to local churches have also met with some opposition. Section 7. A global call for action. Pope Francis has used his platform to address some of the most pressing issues facing the world today, including poverty, inequality, climate change, war, and persecution. He has called for a global response to these challenges, urging world leaders, policymakers, and people of all faiths to work together to create a more just and peaceful world. His encyclical on the environment, Laudato Si', has been hailed as a landmark document, calling for urgent action to address climate change and protect the planet for future generations. He has also spoken out forcefully against the arms trade, calling it a scandal and a grave threat to peace. Pope Francis's message has resonated far beyond the Catholic Church, finding an audience among people of all faiths and none. His humility, his compassion, and his unwavering commitment to justice have made him a moral authority on the world stage, a voice of conscience in an increasingly polarized world.